Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face when you're sleeping.
Being a stunt entertainer requires you to be an extreme kind of crazy person in general. Having to do crazy things like fly off of a cliff or ride over waterfalls in wooden barrels. Doing these things requires you to be a daredevil of the highest degree, and we can agree that not everyone has that kind of crazy in them to pull off such stunts. The scary part about these stunts is that they do it for no other reason but just to get a thrill. They love holding people's attention as they say hi to the Grim Reaper. And to make things worse, they frequently have minimal safety precautions. Anyway, let's quit the chit-chat of how crazy these people are and go to what stunts they pulled. Here are the top 10 deadliest stunts caught on tape. Number 10. Robbie Madison. If you're a fan of stunts, then you may know or heard of Evil Knievel. They now call him the greatest daredevil to ever live. And if you know of him, then you know that Robbie Madison is said to be the modern-day incarnation of Evil Knievel. Madison is a daredevil to the max. He does things no one has done or will ever do again. This is seen when he recorded the longest jump ever made on a motorcycle on New Year's Eve's Red Bull New Year No Limit project. He shocked everyone by jumping 322 feet and came out screaming out of a parking structure. He hit the ramp and cut through the Vegas night. He later said that he had dedicated the jump in memory of his idol Evil Knievel, who passed away in 2007. Evil once said, "Anybody can jump a motorcycle. The trouble begins when you try to land it." And these words inspired our daredevil Robbie to pull off such a stunt. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it, it really works. Number 9. Nick Wallenda. This is in no way comparable to what Robbie Madison pulled off. This is a death wish. Nick Wallenda, who is known as the King of the High Wire, and his wife Arendira took on the highest and longest endeavor. Wallenda walked a wire located 1,800 feet above the Masaya volcano in Nicaragua, while his wife performed aerial ballet hanging from a helicopter. What the hell? Why would someone even do that? The wind was said to be unpredictable, making Arendira perform her act from the wire hanging above the volcano, instead of from the helicopter as it was supposed to be. With the encouragement of her husband Nick, she showcases her talent very well. At one point, she was seen to be hanging by her teeth, clenching onto a rope. Wallenda's turn came up and it took him 30 minutes of navigating noxious fumes, unpredictable wind gusts, and the boiling lake of lava below to finish the deadly stunt. I wouldn't wish that even for my enemies. Number 8. Luke Akins. Now this is history, or epic, one and the same to me. Luke Akins jumped out of a Cessna airplane at 25,000 feet. Despite being a professional skydiver, he didn't have a parachute with him, just a GPS, a communication device, and an oxygen tank. No wingsuit or anything that would have helped him stop or slow his descent. Insane, right? Then you will find it super insane when you hear that among the anxious spectators waiting for his emergence from the sky was his wife Monica and his 4-year-old son Logan. Yes, his family was watching this stomach-churning event. Akins explained to the media that it took him 2 years to perfect this stunt before taking it to live TV. He called this stunt heaven sent, and indeed it was, considering he was the only one alive to attempt such a stunt and live to tell the tale. Remember Robbie Madison's idol Evil Knievel? Well, we wouldn't list down the most deadly stunts without him being on our list, would we? He was the greatest daredevil to ever live. Number 7. Evil Knievel. The world would live to remember Evil Knievel as the death-defying adventurer who started from stealing motorcycles to riding them in a row of spectacular airborne stunts. Evil was as much a madman as he was a biker. He landed his biggest yet failed jump ever in Caesar. It's said that he knew he wasn't going to land the jump successfully, but he still strapped on his helmet and faced the fate. As you can imagine, he didn't land well and instead rolled away from the motorcycle and probably got injured. He had it in mind that even a failure would make him world famous. And he did, which, come to think of it, isn't a bad motivation. I think I'll steal this saying and keep telling myself that all those times I keep feeling like a loser. Number 6. Felix Baumgartner. Almost 7 decades ago, Captain Charles Yeager was the first man to defy the odds and travel faster than the speed of sound in his X-1 aircraft. Felix Baumgartner put him to shame by becoming the first man to accomplish the same achievement without a plane. He broke the world's record for high-altitude skydives and speeds in free fall by jumping from a specially constructed balloon at over 39 kilometers above the Earth. With this dive, he broke not only the speed of sound, but also the previous altitude record, and the record for the fastest free fall during his descent. Making a record jump of 39 kilometers was a dreadful stunt considering it was several times higher than the altitudes frequented by commercial jets. Number 5. Philippe Petit. At 16 years old, Philippe Petit was in the waiting room of a dentist appointment when he saw the rendering of the Twin Towers, pre-construction, in a newspaper. Seeing these buildings, he made a vow to walk between the two buildings. It became his inspiration and trained with Czech circus performer Rudy Omenkowski. Years later, he's seen walking between the Twin Towers of the old World Trade Centers on a high wire that was more than 1,300 feet in the air. If that's not insanity, what is? As shocked as you are, so were his audience and the police waiting for him on the ground. He was arrested for his exhibit, but managed to escape prosecution. He said he presented himself as a performing artist rather than a stuntman, and that he will stage a free aerial performance at Central Park in exchange for removing his prosecution. That was quite an escape. Number 4. Mike Hughes. Before we talk about this dreadful stunt, let's take a moment to honor the life of Mike Hughes. As much as most of the time these daredevils do end up okay, it's never guaranteed what will happen. Mike Hughes, in his case, tragically passed away after pulling out his stunt. The parachutes on his homemade steam rocket failed to deploy. It propelled and cratered into the sagebrush near Barstow, California. Initially, his plan was to float dozens of miles high in a balloon. He was going to film his entire way to the 62-mile-high barrier that separates the atmosphere and the cold vacuum of space. As we can see, things didn't turn out as expected. Talking of overestimating and things not turning out as expected, another daredevil whose stunt tragically turned out to be the last one he made is coming up in the top 3. Stay tuned to see how it all happened. Number 3. Dean Potter. Mike Hughes wasn't the only person who breathed his last while pulling a deadly stunt. Dean Potter, a professional climber and jumper, together with his friend, also apprentice, Graham Hunt, went through the same fate. At Yosemite National Park, the two stood side by side, ready to base jump and wingsuit fly. A few feet away stood Potter's longtime girlfriend, Jen Rapp, and the couple's dog, Whisper. They didn't wait for the full cloak of dusk and made the jump. And even after a breeze caught their attention that it wasn't safe, they didn't pause their adventure. They had done this several times before, sometimes together and sometimes alone. Overlooking about 3,000 feet above Yosemite Valley, they jumped to their demise. Jen Rapp said that neither of their parachutes deployed and that she heard an impact sound and called out to them but couldn't hear a response. At around 9 p.m., she decided to inform the park officials and the search and rescue operation was launched early that following morning. The two bodies were spotted on the wall of rock along Yosemite Valley, both flown out. It's truly incredibly tragic. The park officials said they didn't know what went wrong. And with that, it's now time for today's best pick. Today's photo was sent to us by a subscriber. So if you come across a photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it in a future video. Number 2. Woo Young Ning. You've probably seen this photo doing the rounds on social media. This is a photo of a Chinese man, Woo Young Ning, pulling out a stunt of climbing to the top of a 20-story building and attempting pull-ups from one of its precipices. Woo is seen to be struggling to hold on. He tries grasping the side of the wall as his feet and hands try to find something to hoist his body back up. Why would someone even do that? It's needless to say that it wasn't a very smart idea. Risking your life for a YouTube video? It's unfortunately pretty apparent that he overestimated his skills. Ideally, at the very minimum, they could have at least used a harness or any kind of secured device. I don't know. Do you feel sorry for him? Number 1. Alain Robert. We sum up our list with the French urban climber dubbed Spider-Man, Alain Robert, as he scales up the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Yes, the 828-meter, that is 2,717-foot tower in the United Arab Emirates city. Unusually, this time he used safety precautions like the rope and harness. At least he loved his life in a way. It took him 6 hours, 13 minutes, and 55 seconds to ascend to the top of the Burj Khalifa. The crowd stayed till they watched him being picked out by spotlights after darkness fell. Robert has scaled more than 70 skyscrapers, including New York's Empire State Building, and he is planning to scale the Burj Al Arab Hotel in Dubai next. We are waiting to see how that will turn out. If you're planning to break any record or shame any of these stuntmen, please make sure to be safe by having the basic gear such as a harness for deadly jumps. Your life is more precious than breaking a world's record.